Hey YouTube, ReggieTech here, and today we're going to be replacing the glass digitizer on an iPad 2 screen. So as you can see, this iPad 2 screen has significant damage to the glass, as well as to the frame. The frame is bent down here, and it's also bent at the top by where the volume buttons are. So we're going to try to hopefully bend those back maybe a little bit into place. The good thing is that the iPad's LCD is actually still working perfectly without any issues. Here I have an OEM iPad 2 glass digitizer for the repair. And I also have the frame for the digitizer screen. So let's go ahead and put this aside. And we're going to begin working on the iPad 2, taking the old screen off. We'll now turn off the device. We're going to use a heat gun to heat up the adhesive that's around the edges of the screen. We're going to use our spudger tool to get under the screen and lift up the glass. Now let's begin removing the LCD from the frame. To do this, there are 4 screws holding it down. Once the 4 screws are removed and you lift up the LCD, you will see the ribbon cable connecting it to the motherboard. All you have to do is flip up the lever and the LCD should pop right out. Next, we'll be taking out the digitizer. To do this, there are 2 ribbon cables that are connected as one, and they will be removed as such. So, while I was taking off the iPad digitizer, I actually didn't realize that the Wi-Fi antenna actually broke as well. So, we're also going to be replacing the Wi-Fi antenna in this video, which was unexpected, but it happened, and it happens. So, it's not a big deal. I have a new one right here, and we'll just be installing this right now. So the first step of removing this antenna is to first take off the cover plate that's covering the daughter board. So this chip right here is the daughter board, and that's what the antenna is connected to. Now that we have the Wi-Fi antenna completely installed, the next step is to recover the cover plate that's covering the daughter board. We're going to go ahead and install the Digitizer's frame now. To do this, all we have to do is remove the protective film covering the adhesive. If this frame breaks, it's alright, because the condition that this iPad is in, the edges are dinged up, and that means that the frame wouldn't go on the iPad completely anyways. So we're going to have to be doing some cutting on this frame as well, just to make it so that the screen will fit on the iPad without any raises. So now I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the LCD. To do this, I'm using 91% isopropyl alcohol. The key here is to ensure that the LCD has no scratches and has no smudges. To ensure that your screen gets cleaned properly, use a microfiber cloth. So now that the LCD is all cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and start installing the digitizer. Now this can be a little tricky just because there are two cables that you have to plug into the iPad. So it's going to take a little bit of finessing the cables to make it fit in properly. We're going to go ahead and use our nylon tool just to guide the cables into the slots so that we can clip it into place. The next step is to install the LCD. I'm sorry I couldn't get the installation of the LCD's cable in the video. It was a very hard position to work with. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall the 4 screws back into the iPad to hold the LCD into place. The best practice is to install the screws in a diagonal fashion. Let's turn on the iPad and see how the digitizer and the screen turns on and how it works. You're going to notice that once the iPad is completely on, the digitizer will not work. This is because it hasn't been seated onto the iPad's frame. So let's go ahead and take off all the adhesive and seat this onto the frame. As you can see, now that the digitizer is completely onto the frame, it's working perfectly. So now I'm just going to go ahead and swipe around the screen to make sure that the digitizer is working properly and that the screen is responsive. I hope that this tutorial on replacing the iPad 2's digitizer and Wi-Fi antenna have proven to be helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my page, and until next time.